Hi, everybody. Alright, everybody's been talking about this online since probably about 2014. But I wondered if this program was still going on. The Department of Homeland Security in the United States, no doubt, and other places, has been known to pay $500 or more to rat out preppers. Now, supposedly, this is a program coming out of New York, but as you know, the Department of Homeland Security is a federal agency, and as such, they have federal authority, which means they have jurisdiction over the entire United States. Thusly, this or similar programs probably exist in all the states and various territories within the United States of America. So I wondered what was going on with this program. And I went ahead and I went looking. I thought, well, for New York, they're probably not doing too much on this, you know. But who knows, right? Right. I figured out of every 200 preppers, there's probably 3 or 4 that get turned in through a program similar to this. Now, like I said, the original story came in 2014, so I'm not that stupid. I typed into Google, DHS pays $500 to rat on preppers 2016. And here's one that still says July 19, 2016. The program is still active to some degree. Here's an original from 2014, 2014, and various others. So it does seem like that even into 2016, ladies and gentlemen, it did say 2016. Yep, here we go. That the program is still going strong, especially in New York. I would guess California is probably in on this, along with, Massachusetts, among many other pseudo super liberal states. And this is the original, or what I believe to be the original article, although it doesn't really have anything from DHS itself. So that's what I was looking at. The Department of Homeland Security has posted signs to encourage people to report anyone they see buying ammunition, flashlights, match containers, gas masks, or anything else of a prepper nature. New York State troopers are being asked by businesses to snitch on neighbors who are acting suspiciously. They're paying $500 to the snitches. Now, we all know various people who are supposedly hoarding guns and various things that the government deems as prepping. And basically asks, would you snitch on a prepper? Well, here's what I believe on the prepper note. I believe when shit hits the fan, like it will no matter what, majority of those people aren't going anywhere anyway. Because if you have all your gear inside your house, you're probably screwed already. I'm not kidding. If you don't have satellite location set up, you have absolutely no business, running out and doing such at a later time. I think that the serious people that are seriously going to survive whatever cataclysm is going to come have probably already ran out 2 or 3 times during all these, emergency events we've had over the last couple of years. Probably gotten to their spaces. They probably have replaced backpacks and various things in storage 2 or 3 times over. And, they have kind of prepped it out. And I think if you know people that are hoarding, 5,000 rounds of ammunition in their basement, and most of it to be probably near garbage at this point, which I know most if it probably is in pristine condition anyway. Those aren't going to be your preppers because they don't plan on going anywhere. But I guarantee you, everybody that knows them knows that they're hoarding. So DHS pays $500 to rat out preppers. Supposedly only a New York thing, but I imagine similar programs to be in California, Massachusetts, even here in Michigan. I can't believe that this would be something that DHS would pay for across the board. I think, if anything, if they were to pay you any amount of money, it would be based on content of what they find. Say the guy's hoarding, I don't know, let's say, I don't even know if 10,000 rounds of ammunition is even feasible. Well, let's say they find 10,000 rounds of ammunition, right? Okay, so let's say they pay you, I don't know, 10-15% of what the content is worth. I think that would be a marginal solution. If you turn in a guy who you claim to be hoarding and he has, an old Smith & Wesson and 2 boxes of ammo, do you really expect them to be paying you $500? That, they find a case of beer or something? Or do you think that they're going to want some kind of legitimate, absolute proof? Well, I personally think they would want absolute proof before they paid you anything. I think if they wanted, if they were going to pay you that kind of money, even $500, which is enough money to be semi-worth it, I think they would want proof. And, if not, you would probably be hit up on charges and everything else. So, snitching is bad. Snitches get stitches, no matter what it is. If they're not harming you or doing anything to your person, leave them alone, no matter what the situation is. A lot of shady things are going on to draw the attention of the crowds, to, grab out the dissenters and label them, psychologically impaired terrorists, any number of things they can get them on board for. Like I said, they owe me a shitload of money, and when I finally see it, I'm going to be on a boat in the Caribbean, going through as many women and various things as I can. So, when that day finally comes, I'll be broadcasting from the boat. But this is true. It looks like the program is still being run. You saw that. It said July 19th, 2016 on it. So I was actually quite happy to see that there was an updated, an updated report on that. I would call, the Department of Homeland Security and record a call with them and everything. But from what I'm getting and what they tell me is DHS is like a call-in center for all the law enforcement groups and all the national security groups. For them to actually do anything, all they're doing is moving the phone call to a unit that can respond or to a group of people who can handle the situation. Now, we've all seen the Army's labeled DHS, so we know that it's different, but let's be honest with what it is. So, DHS is still paying $500 to rat out preppers. I don't really know any people that I think would really have anything worth ratting out. I mean, there are people I know that have old rifles. I'm not even certain half of them even work. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not certain the guys, or gals that I know that have, X amount of ammo are even going to be able to use it because they never go shooting. So their guns are going to jam, the oil's not going to work, all kinds of crazy shit. So personally, what they tell me is, look, man, it's a form of currency at this point, The ammo is built off a material and it's worth so much, I keep it for that value alone. I don't care. Makes no difference to me. So, looks like this program is still active. I am almost certain they have some kind of payment program per state, per province, per probably even per country, depending on the Department of Homeland Security. I know there's one in Canada, among others, and they call them different things, but there is a DHS that oversees each country, and from what I've heard, and I've heard the name, there is an international DHS which does oversee everything. That actually works from the UN globalist level. But it looks like these guys are actually paying people $500 to rat out preppers. Problem is, when you call them in and say, hey, you guys still got that program offered, you're talking to somebody who is, on a phone line, who has no idea of policy, has no idea of anything. So even if they do, they're not going to work with you. They're going to say, why? You're looking to rat somebody out? And say, well, I want to know if that program is still active. Problem is, they already got your phone at that point. So all the person has to do is find the phone records of the people they know and look and see who ratted them out. And then, revenge is theirs. So, again, don't go ratting people out for stupid shit. Even big shit, I would just leave it alone unless you know it to be absolute crazy shit. But at this point, every time I turn on the news, the government's doing more stupid shit. So look at that. 84, 85 people are dead because they couldn't tell if a group of people coming out of church or something was a group of ISIS and it was just like families of people that play and stuff. Absolute terrorism, ladies and gentlemen, from the banks on down. That's what they want to do here in the United States. They want to find us in groups and they want to bomb the shit out of it. I don't care what your beliefs are. That is what happens after the 2A is gone. They don't care if you're carrying. They don't care what you're doing. They want to depopulate, and that's all they care about. Whether it be the psych wards, the prisons, any of the other places, this is how they're going to do it, folks. Thank you.